Welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to the Doc G Show. I'm your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Fernicus.
Say what?
Charette.
Dr. G, what is up, sir?
Formal.
Yes.
I like
Yes.
it. Mike, where are we at?
Oh, 8.5, always.
Wow.
Nice baseline.
I thought so.
8.5.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I was going to be
What
real concerned if you said something like a 7.
8.4. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
What is wrong? What is wrong? Mike, I am around a 7,
Nice.
which I usually am. So
That's your base.
Yes. Let's not get crazy.
Nope.
But I do have something that has buoyed me a little bit, and it's also scares the living bejesus out of me.
Uh-oh.
So it's both. Mike, have you voted?
Oh, no, not yet. But mail-in ballot this
But
year.
you're good. Oh, nice. Nice.
Not
Well
waiting
done.
in line.
Well
Thank
done,
you.
Mike.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Just get it in. Get it in, man.
I pledge you allegiance.
I have too. I did it
Yeah?
as well. I did a little
Nice.
mail-in action. I voted like
There you
2
go.
weeks ago. As soon as I got that thing in, I sent it right back.
Yeah.
I sent it right back. Just 2 seconds, it was back to them. You know? I felt good.
So true.
Felt like I had done my civic duty, you know?
You did. You did. Yes.
Thank you. International listeners, hang on for us. Just for a little bit. This doesn't really concern you too much. So, hang with us. It's important for the overall world, but I need to
Yeah.
try to convince the American listening audience to do their democratic duty for our republic and exercise their right to vote.
That's a fact.
Now, you might be telling yourselves, listeners, I haven't registered, so it's too late. It's too late for me. Well, wrong. Okay? Wrong. Wrong for half of the states, Mike. The other half, you're right. You're too late. You up, and you're a failure to our entire country. But for half of you, you're still right. So, Mike, real quick, this is going to be a long list, but real quick, if you are in California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Iowa, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, Wisconsin, you can still register.
So true.
So, go to Google, just type in register vote and your state, and you'll find out how.
Nice.
Exactly.
Thank you,
exactly.
Doc G.
Of course. Listeners, you can do your civic duty by going to vote. And Mike, I want to get something clear for the listeners. If you're a person who says it doesn't matter, I don't need to vote, and it doesn't matter if anyone else votes, it's not going to make a difference, you're wrong. You're at the same level of wrong as if you were having sex with your grandma in church. That's how wrong you are.
Ew.
Let that sink in, Mike. Sex with your grandma in church.
That's hot.
That's how wrong you are if you don't think you need to vote. Mike, in America, what do you think the average turnout is for an election? What percentage of people?
I don't know, like 40%? 30%?
You're setting the bar low. I like it. But
Yeah.
62%.
All right, that's good.
No, that's pathetic, Mike.
Okay.
You know what that gets you in science class? A D minus. All right? We are not a D minus country, Mike. We are an A plus country.
Yeah, we are.
All right? When you look at 62%, that means that there are 127,639,430 people in America that are basically having sex with their grandma in church and or not voting.
Ew.
Okay? That is disgusting, Mike. This is even more flabbergasting, though. Our average turnout of registered voters. So the people that have already registered, what do you think that is?
Right.
It's pretty good, but it's still upsetting.
Okay. I'll say 60%.
Okay, you're still lowballing, but it's
Okay.
you're going to make it sound better. But 90%.
90%. Oh.
We need 100%, Mike.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, think about that. These people were registered to vote.
Yeah.
They'd already signed up. They did the hard part. And then they were like, yeah. That means you've got 17 million people out there in America that were on their way to vote and decided instead to have sex with their grandma in church and or not vote. You know? Listeners, I want to keep living in a democracy. Yes! You should too. Go vote.
Mm-hmm. Go vote.
Go vote. And if you know someone that isn't planning on voting, tell them to stop having sex with their grandma in church and go vote. Now, Mike, I'm not going to tell people who to vote for. That is completely your choice. And I respect your choice. That's what voting is all about.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
Me too.
Because in my opinion, again, Mike, this is my opinion. Listeners, respect my opinion. If you vote for Trump, that's like deciding to stop having sex with your grandma to have sex with your grandpa. It's disgusting. It's very disgusting. Again, just my opinion. Now, Mike, now that we have electrified the voting base, are you ready to fire this show up?
Let's fire up this show, Doc G.
All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Whew! Mike, do your civic duty, you know?
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Super exciting guest on the show this week. Rekha Shankar. Whew, my gosh. She is a busy lady, Mike.
That's a fact.
She's the host of the show Smartypants. She's a performer with the UCB. My God, you ever looked at the list of people that have came out of the UCB?
It's they've got a nice list.
Impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like it's more impressive than like Second City now almost. I mean, Second City's been there longer, so it's got a more illustrious list, but still, it's crazy. Anyways, she does shows there. She's been doing shows there for like the last 10 years. She's the executive story editor for Andy Samberg's show Digman. And she's on Vulture's Comedians You Should Know 2024.
Nice.
Yeah, can't wait to talk to her. She's a hoot. But first, we need to start where we start.
Birthday suit.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Woo! Mike, this person, I'm not going to really need to do anything for this one. Here's the information I'll give you. They were born on October 23rd, 1976 in Vancouver, Canada. And I think he's the number one person on your list of guys you would divorce your wife for.
Ryan Reynolds.
That is correct. Yes, I knew Mike would get it. Nicely
Love
done.
it.
Nicely done. My second, if you couldn't get it from that, which I was like, he'll get it from that, was Deadpool. But I was like, yeah, he'll get it. I mean, do I need to run down all the things? Like all kinds of movies, Mike.
So true.
All kinds. Married to Blake Lively. And then outside of that, my God, he's such an investor these days.
Yeah.
Good Lord, he sold Aviation Gin for $610 million. He owns the Wrexham Football Club. His Mint Mobile thing, T-Mobile bought that for it's like $1.4 billion or something like that, and he owned like 25% of it. Do the math. It's insane, He's a mogul, Mike.
Yeah.
A mogul, and he's super attractive and funny. It's too much. It's too much, that guy.
It's everything.
You know?
Yeah.
One more year in the 40s, Mike. My goodness. He is 49. Can you believe it? Looks pretty amazing for 49.
Yeah, he does.
Looks pretty amazing for 49. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. He's got 2 more years. My bad. 2 more years in the 40s.
He's turning 48?
He is turning 48.
Nice.
Because it was 1976, so he's turning 48. Yes. I couldn't do math. It's tough. But regardless, happy birthday to Ryan. He's also in that fun club, you know, getting to be around Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. You know.
Yeah.
He gets to hang around that crew. Although he I think he's wisely made a distance. He doesn't really do anything publicly, really, with that crew.
No. And he doesn't look too enthusiastic in any of the photos.
Yeah, I'm not, listeners, I'm not saying it's because he shouldn't. I'm just saying he's like, hey, I'm not going to make myself look any better by being here.
Yeah.
I might as well just do my own thing, you know? So he does his own thing, and he does it really well.
Yeah, he does.
Anywho, happy birthday to Ryan Reynolds. Mike would like to have relations with you.
In
Anywho,
church.
that has nothing to do with voting. Mike, are you ready to rip some headlines?
Let's rip some headlines, Doc G.
It's now time for Rip from the Headlines.
Chowhound. You remember Chowhound, right? We had a couple of articles from them. They're a food group there. Yeah, Chowhound. Here's their headline, Mike. Quote, Colorado's Pueblo Slopper is a regional dish that tastes better than it sounds. I gotta say, Mike, seems like a pretty low bar.
Yeah.
You know?
Sounds disgusting.
That sounds pretty bad. That's sort of like Florida's Turd Burger is a regional dish that tastes better than it sounds. I would hope so.
Yeah.
Turd Burger? You know? And after looking at a picture of the Pueblo Slopper, gotta say, Turd Burger might be a better name. It's a hamburger covered in flavorful green chili sauce, topped with cheese, and it looks like a pile of dump.
Oh.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong. I'd eat it.
Oh, yeah. That sounds delicious.
It's definitely a good meal. Just let's think about a new name. You know?
Yeah.
Just something else. Just something else. Mike, I've got a headline from Guitar Magazine. Sure, you're an avid reader because of all your guitar playing.
Oh, yeah.
So true.
Here's the headline. Quote, to have all that talent was probably the biggest curse he ever carried. The self-loathing that haunted Eddie Van Halen throughout his career. Yeah. You know Eddie Van Halen, right, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Very, very talented guitarist, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this story comes from Alex, who was Eddie's brother. He's the drummer in Van Halen. And Alex said in the interview that all the adulation and all talk of him being the greatest guitarist led to anxiety over his playing, believing he was unworthy of his own talent. And eventually that led to, downward spiral there of alcohol and drug abuse.
The imposter syndrome.
Yeah, a little bit.
Gotta.
A little bit. It's rough, Mike.
Yeah.
It's rough.
That stinks.
I don't know about the listeners. But I am going to take a second right now and thank the heavenly stars above that I have zero talent
Yes.
for zero expectations. No one is expecting anything. Although I will say, still got to say, that also leads to self-loathing. So you don't really get out of that one.
You can't win.
That one's still there. Self-loathing, still in it. Mike, I've got this. This is a bit of a head scratcher for me. This was a weird one from Time. Time magazine. I don't usually see too many Time headlines anymore.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
But I saw this headline, quote, "What to do if you wake up tired every day?" And I was like, is this a trick question? Isn't that everyone every day? Like, who's waking up like, wow, and just electrified? Like, what? I mean, don't get me wrong, Mike. I'm definitely doing sleep wrong. Yes! There's no doubt about it. Whatever you need to do to maximize sleep, I'm not doing it.
Right.
But I don't think you should wake up feeling like that every day.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
Apparently, Mike, this article is all about unrefreshing sleep. So if you're not getting enough refreshing sleep, you may feel this way waking up. So they said, look at your habits and your sleep hygiene. I know you're doing some of that, Mike. You do that.
Yeah, definitely. I try to.
Do you wake up feeling supercharged and ready to dominate the day?
I wake up feeling pretty tired most of the time, like everybody else. But it does. I feel like in the last couple years, that feeling doesn't last as long. Okay. And I'm kind of. I also started splashing cold water on my face right when I wake up. That's nice.
Okay, little pick me up.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I think like 90% of our listeners would agree that there's like a 2-hour window where it's just good that they don't kill somebody in the first part of the day. Like, that's
brutal.
Yeah.
It's
tough, man.
Yeah.
Like, who wakes up and like, finally I can get out of this bed? Like, no. It's lovely.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I could not concur with that article, Mike. That was head scratcher. Mike, I got a banger from E! News here. Here's the E! News headline. Quote, Selena Gomez no longer sleeps in her bedroom due to mental health struggles.
Oh, no.
Yeah. First, when I heard this, I was like, is it because ever since she's became a millionaire, she sleeps on a pile of gold coins like Scrooge McDuck and just backpedals through it there? Now, I actually have another one. I also thought about this, Mike. I was like, that's right. She doesn't sleep in the bedroom anymore. Because of her heavy Taco Bell diet, she sleeps on the toilet. It's just quicker that way. But honestly, Mike, I was excited about this article because I was like, what location does she sleep in? Like, I thought it was going to be some kind of crazy. I was like, is it her couch? Is it like a walk-in closet? Is she sleeping in like a kayak in the garage? But they didn't actually have a place. Like, the article was just letting us know that
I'm thinking couch, man. I'm thinking couch.
I think a good, like, to me, a couch is like a staycation for you,
Yeah.
Every now and then when you get a little burnt out of your bed, go into the couch, you're like, well, this is like sleeping over at my buddy's house.
It's nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when you face the back. What is it about the containment
you get tucked
feeling?
In. Yeah, you get tucked in. But unlike, being in just like a closed, like a casket, like you don't, like, you've got the back to you. You can just jump out. Like, I get a little anxious if I'm too closed in, I don't like that feeling at all. Anyways, Mike, just apparently in general, she has issues with anxiety and racing thoughts. So there you go. She's got some problems with that. So Benny, where you at, bro? Come on, help your girlfriend. Get in there. Be a helpful girlfriend or boyfriend. Sorry.
Yeah, for a massage.
Come on, Benny Blanco. But I empathize. Selena. I feel you. Maybe some Taco Bell late at night. They're open late. There you go. Exactly. Mike, got a headline from People.
Our people.
Here we go. Quote, Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriend, Vittoria Soretti, appears to have photo from his growing pain days on her phone.
Leak
Mike,
it.
Mike, you know when he was on Growing Pains?
Yeah.
1991.
Oh, man.
That's when he started. And I thought about it. I was like, well, yeah, that's understandable for her. She's just trying to imagine what he would look like if they were the same age. I do have to say, though, it's a little bizarre when you think about it, when you carry around a picture of your boyfriend from roughly 30 years ago when he was like 18 and you were -6.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird. Which you also, when you hear that, you got to admit, sounds a little like a 5th grade math problem. Mm-hmm. If Victoria has a picture of Leo from 30 years ago when he was 18 and she was -6, how many months will it be before Leo breaks up with her? Whoa! Come on! That is too complicated for 5th graders.
In the first half. Oh, he was 18 on that show?
He was, yeah, he looked young, looked very young.
Okay, yeah.
You know, he was born in, I want to say 74, so he started when, I think, hold on, let me make sure of that. I think it was 74.
Yeah, it's crazy. He looked like a little kid in that show. Like, just,
he was born, his birthday is coming up in less than a month, Mike. He will be 50 years old.
Jeez.
50 years old. So he was 17 when he started, turned 18 there, yeah. Looked like I wouldn't even say a teeny bopper when he was on that show.
Yeah, he looked like he was 15 or 14 years old.
And I mean, that makes sense
because
because you know, in Titanic he looked like that too. Still,
yeah,
you know, he was just a youthful guy. I mean, still now at 50, he looks more like, I'd say 35. You know, he doesn't look 50. I wouldn't say 50. You know,
yeah.
But maybe that's just me being nice to him. I don't know. Anyways, Mike. Get ready. I've got a taste of home article.
Sweet.
This is a great food article right here. Quote, I tried the Chicken Big Mac.
I was going to try it this week.
Exactly.
I saw it. Sorry, Doctor.
You're good. I tried the Chicken Big Mac, and I have opinions on this sandwich.
Yes, let's hear them.
Whew. I mean, first of all, Mike, appreciate the cliffhanger, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Are these opinions negative? Are they positive? Did the Chicken Big Mac sexually abuse her cousin? What? We don't know. We don't know what these opinions are.
We don't
My goodness. But get prepared. I read her opinions. Here's what she thinks. Delicious.
Yes. Okay.
Instant classic, Mike. And I gotta say, I didn't see it coming. You know? I mean, sure, a chicken sandwich with one piece of fried chicken is delicious. But 2? And an additional slice of bread in the middle? They're stepping into the great unknown right there. Who knows what could happen? It is insane, but rest easy, because apparently Americans still like fat things.
Yes, we do.
There you go. Now, I would like to point out, Mike, I was reading this article. It was quite a long read. It was like War and Peace about a chicken sandwich. And I will point something out. At one point, she's talking about how the chicken in the chicken sandwich is like a chicken McNugget. That's like, you know, the flavor that you get. It's like basically the same consistency and everything like that. And she says, quote, in fact, I'd go as far as to say the McNugget is the best item on any fast food menu. Because unlike Shake Shack burgers or Popeye's chicken sandwiches, you can easily eat them while driving. Or stash them in your pocket to secretly snack on during long, boring meetings.
Wait, what?
What? I'm going to have to take a strong stance here, Mike. Strong stance. If you're regularly putting chicken nuggets in your pocket to eat for later, you should be arrested.
Yeah.
Who is putting chicken nuggets in their pocket?
Little kids,
probably. Yeah, exactly. 5-year-olds. Like, if I see you pull a chicken nugget out of your pocket during a meeting, I am immediately bringing it to everyone else's attention. Did you see this? Did you see this? She just pulled a chicken nugget instantly out of her pocket. There were probably lint balls and hairs and turd nuggets stuck all over that thing. That is sick,
gross.
Mike.
But if you do that in kindergarten, you're gonna get that's a good trade right there. You can get
If
Pokemon
you do that-
cards.
You do that in kindergarten, the person's going to be like, you got any more of those?
That has value.
What else you got in that pocket? Oh, my God.
Do you want to be
Mike,
friends?
I've got an article from the New York Post. Here's the quote. Quote, Stephen Van Sant talks Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. We're not just getting older. We're getting better. Yeah. Yeah. You know Stephen Van Sant? Mike?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
He's the guitarist.
Okay.
He's the guitarist in the E Street Band. So him saying we're not just getting older, we're getting better. Of course, he's talking about himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Mm-hmm. And I got to be honest, that's being positive right there. You know, good for you. That is being. It's not true.
Nope.
But it's being positive. You know.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like saying that chicken has passed its expiration date, but that just means it's getting better. No.
I disagree.
No. Just means you're getting anthrax. That's what it means.
That's a fact.
Mike, this is important. This is an extremely important article here. As we know, me and you are lovers of Taco Bell.
So true.
Oh yeah, we are.
We celebrate the whole menu and past menus, Mike. Past menus.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This weekend, I was cruising through news articles, as I often do, and I came across an article that was titled 15 Fast Food Items from the 1980s That Have Never Made a Return. So, of course, with this groundbreaking journalism, I had to take a look, Mike. I was going through their list, and I came across something from Taco Bell I had never heard of, Mike. Apparently, this originated and retired before I got on the Taco Bell train. I came across the Taco Bell Beefer, Mike.
Let's see what this says.
The Bell Beefer. First of all, anything with beefer in the title has me roped in, Mike. Beefer? Are you kidding me? That sounds good. Now, let me explain to the listeners. Apparently,
This
the
thing
Bell,
looks amazing. I'm sorry.
yeah, exactly. The Bell Beefer is essentially a sloppy Joe with Taco Bell meat. That's what it
yeah.
is.
That's hot.
That's what it is. And I was like, oh my God. Can you imagine? Can you imagine walking into a meeting at work and being like, sorry guys, I'm moving a little slow today. 4 Bell Beefers. Put them down for lunch. All right? Little slow. Like, oh my God. The possibilities are endless, Mike. The Supreme Beefer. The Supreme Beefer with bacon. The Supreme Locos Beefer with bacon. The Supreme Locos Beefer with bacon and nacho fries. Get the out of here. Oh my gosh, Mike. I am so... Let me get at the people at Taco Bell and their marketing team. I want the beefer back.
Yeah.
You know? Oh my
I need
gosh.
to bring that back.
Oh, it looks so good, Mike.
It looks like you can get one at Del Taco. Well, I don't think you have Del Tacos where you are, Doc G, but
Let's be honest, Mike. It's
have to
not
order.
Taco Bell.
it's a secret menu.
It's
but
not-
you know,
it's
still
not
the
Taco
it's still the
Bell.
crappy beef.
It's a different crappy beef.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
be
a
real.
little bit different.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Del Taco fans, you're in your own lane, all right? This is a Taco Bell problem, and we need a Taco Bell solution. Is what we're looking for here. Anyways, Mike, we need to take a break. We are going to be right back here on the Doc G Show. We are back here on the Doc G Show. Spinnaker Radio, WSKRLP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. Mike, what do listeners need to do?
Well, Doc G, if the beautiful, wonderful listeners feel like the show is a positive way to waste their time, then they should please subscribe to the show wherever they consume their podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, wherever they get their podcasts, please subscribe. It is a cost-effective way to support the show. And if they're feeling extra generous, they should leave us a 5-star review and tell a friend.
Amen. Mike, I was going to save this for the end of the year review, but I will say almost every single one of our shows has reached over 1,000 listens on all of the different platforms, except for Spotify. Spotify, you're lagging dramatically. But all the other platforms, over 1,000 listens on every single show. Thank you, listeners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, Mike.
That's amazing.
We need to thank the 5 stars, the 5-star listeners. Here we go. I'm not gonna try to blow it away. Here we go. Shout out to Boardman, Oregon, Genoa, Italy, Richardson, Texas, Barcelona, Spain, Winfield, West Virginia, Biloxi, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Peoria, Illinois, Katy, Texas, Toms River, New Jersey, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Asheville, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Athens, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, Boynton, Virginia, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Columbus, Ohio, Falkenstein, Germany, Jacksonville, Florida, Columbia, South Carolina, Radford, Virginia, Gainesville, Florida, Frankfurt, Germany, Anoka, Minnesota, Ashburn, Virginia, Piracai, Brazil, San Diego, California, and Dublin, Ireland. There we go.
Nice.
There we go. Of course, we still are celebrating Falkenstein's new introduction into the regulars. Falkenstein, we see you out there.
We do.
We see ya. And then all the other internationals. We appreciate it. And, of course, the domestics. We appreciate it. All around this world, we appreciate you.
We do.
Guys, 4-star listens. 4-star listens. Mike, I'm not even going to try to hide it. I enjoyed asking you what the weather was in different places. I'm going to do it again, Mike.
All right, let's go.
4-star listeners, here we go. First on the list, Melbourne, Australia. This is going to be a tough one. We're starting off with a toughie. Because I mean, you gotta think time zone. It's tough. What do you think?
I'm gonna say like 74 degrees.
Okay. All right. Ooh, 58, Mike.
Oh wow.
58.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. What you said, 74, right?
Yeah, 74.
Hey, you would have got it if we were on Sunday. Sunday they got a little heat streak going there. They got the high is 75 on Sunday, so you might have been close on Sunday. Okay, all right. So shout out there to Melbourne. Next on the list. Almost always, they're like the most regular semi-regulars we have. Mountain View, California.
Mountain View, California.
Mountain View, California.
Where is that in California again? Is that like Southern California?
No,
Northern,
it's like close to the bay. Close to the bay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say like 62.
62. Wow, Mike, you're back on. You're back on. 61. 61.
Oh, wow.
You getting close there with the old Mountain View. I like it. Okay. Now we're gonna go. Let's see. I gotta choose one that's. Oh, this will be a good one. Brighton, Michigan, Mike. Brighton, Michigan. Now I'm not sure where Brighton is, so I can't give you.
Either way, it's in the north.
It's in Michigan. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 52. 52.
Still a little off on that. 65, Mike. 65.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty
That'd
warm.
Be colder.
Pretty warm. Okay. All right. Let's one more, Mike. We are gonna go. Let's go. Which I'm trying to. We already did Melbourne. Okay, we're gonna go up the coast. Sydney, Australia.
Sydney, Australia.
Now remember, Mike. So we're thinking time zone here. You gotta you're talking about like 8 a.m. somewhere around there.
Okay. So yeah, I'd say like, what did we say? It was like 80 degrees or something. Like, what was the temperature of Melbourne?
Actually, it's like sorry, I'm wrong on the. It's like 10 a.m.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say like 70 degrees.
70 degrees.
Yeah.
Let's see. 70.
Yeah.
Nailed it, Mike. Nailed it nicely. Nice finish.
Wow,
Nice
thank you.
Finish.
Thank you.
Gosh, guessing the weather. You're right, listeners. We did it. All right. It was provocative. People couldn't handle it. I don't care. We're still doing it. Brunswick, Georgia. Shout out to you guys. Paso Robles, California. Shout out to you. Princeton, New Jersey. Shout out to you. Pryor, Oklahoma. Shout out to you. Morinville, Canada. Oh, we should have done that one. Morinville would have been good. We'll save it for next time. Morinville, listen next time. You'll be on the list. Miami, Florida. Shout out to all the 4-star listens, Mike. Mike, we need to get to a break so we can bring back Rekha on the show. Rekha Shankar is going to be right back with us here on the Doc G Show. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are very excited to be welcoming a fantastic comedian, writer, performer, editor, all things comedy, Rekha Shankar. Rekha, how are you?
I'm great, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can't complain. Can't complain. I like a lot of times to start the listeners out by, taking them back. Getting to the back of the start of comedy.
Yes.
And
caveman era.
And I've heard your caveman era
Yeah.
is sitcoms.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of where it started.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up watching multicams, sitcoms, everything on Nick at Night, tons of Nickelodeon, just grew up glued to the TV.
What was the go-tos?
Okay. So for kind of more stuff that was on Nickelodeon, my go-tos were like Rocko's Modern Life, Hey Arnold, things like that. And then in terms of sitcoms and multicams and the Nick at Night and TV Land stuff, I Love Lucy. I loved, at the time, The Cosby Show.
Something happened there? There was something
happened, and I kind of forget what happened. It made me have a different relationship with the show, but I don't remember.
It's tough, though, right? Now, that's the thing, is there's so many good episodes, and you're just like...
It sucks. It sucks when someone is a bad person.
Yeah. Especially when they made a great show.
Yeah.
Like, that's a hard thing to...
Yes.
It's just, I mean, like, the episode where he teaches Theo about, like, responsibility.
Yeah.
And Theo gives him the whole laydown of, Dad, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Did you ever think about that?
Yeah.
And he goes, Theo, that's the dumbest thing I have ever, like, it's one of my favorite...
Isn't that even
moments of
is
all
that
time.
in the pilot? I feel like that's in like season 1. Like the whole I brought you into this world, I can take you out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's I mean, that's one of the best, but yeah.
I know. So grew up with a lot of those shows, child of immigrants, a lot of people in that same boat grow up watching sitcoms with their families. Mm-hmm. I watched a lot of these shows with my grandparents, so that's sort of why I got kind of more into stuff that was before I was born, kind of shows.
Now, are they fans of humor?
wow, is anyone in my family a fan of humor? They love laughing. I don't know that they'd be like, we're comedy fans or something like that, but they do love laughing.
But but like when they're watching the comedy, like when they're watching sitcoms, they're laughing.
They're laughing. Yes.
Okay.
So yes, but I don't know that they'd outwardly admit that about themselves. Too weak to love comedy. Yeah. So I was watching all that stuff, and then when I got to high school / like late middle school, I became enamored with Seinfeld, another guy who got some problems. But I just, I found it to be, that was kind of like the aha moment, because at that same time, you could start to Google shows you really liked and find out information. Even now, every time I watch a movie, I have to know everything about like the BTS and like how it was made and things like that. And being able to like learn about Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David and how they came up with the show and the process behind episodes, being able to have access to DVD commentary was just like, this is a job? That's crazy. I still didn't think it was a job I could have, but I was like, oh, somebody wrote these things. I've never really thought about that.
Now, what was your favorite season of Seinfeld?
Man, I mean, seasons like 4 through 6 or 7 have like a special place. Like there's just so many hits. But at the time, the 2 episodes I was obsessed with, I'm forgetting. I think one of them is from season 9, the checks. It's where Jerry keeps getting
He has to write them.
Yes, and then there's like a whole subplot with like Japanese businessmen. This is actually pretty fucked up. Like sleeping in drawers in Kramer's apartment or whatever. And the blood, where Jerry needs blood from Kramer, and then they become blood brothers. I don't know why those 2 episodes like killed me as a kid.
They're the best.
And then I also, I mean, Seinfeld's kind of a show where like even the early episodes are hits, and like there's just a good formula there. I remember really loving The Pen. I loved when they like got meta in season 4 and made a Seinfeld TV show, and you got to see the audition process, and it's like, did you take that box of raisins? You know, like all that stuff. Minutia really spoke to me as someone who was like glued to her TV set and like didn't go out a ton. I was like, yes, I'm surrounded by minutia. Like fantastical worlds don't appeal to me because I don't understand this, but like I know what it's like to have an annoying phone call, because I receive annoying phone calls at the house.
Yeah. Like I feel like that's the thing, is like writers, like I was talking to my brother about this, about Seinfeld, like the seasons before Larry David left, the Larry David seasons, like you have to have an appreciation how everything comes together.
Incredible how disparate it would start and come together.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing that, like, to me, like, I tell them, like, I have more, like, it's sort of like I have more of an appreciation for the way those episodes are composed.
Yeah.
But I still laugh more at season 8 and 9. Like, the where he wasn't there, it was sort of like the kids were allowed to play in a ridiculous way. Like, they just got more, every character got more extreme. And so you just see this ridiculousness in, you know, Kramer, and you see, and it's just like, I mean, all of those in season, like Elaine dancing, the Kenny Rogers Roasters episode.
Insane.
Elaine as Susie, which is probably one of my favorite, where she freaks out.
Yes, with Jay Petervitt. Yeah.
Suze. There's no way I'm going to be a Suze.
Yeah, so funny.
But like, all of those, like, that's the thing, is like the earlier episodes, I just am, I'm like, oh man. And sometimes, like, that's how slow I am, probably. It's like, I'll watch one, I'm like, oh, I completely missed. That was from the beginning.
Oh,
they brought that back in, and like, and just like, and it's like 15 years after the first time I saw it or something like that. But
totally.
It is an inspiring show.
Yeah.
To write on, for sure.
Yeah.
What now? The other part, I mean, obviously, sketch comedy has been a part of your life for over a decade now.
Yeah.
Was SNL part of your life growing up?
No, I did not watch SNL growing up. I knew what it was, but just it never occurred to me to watch. I think like maybe also Child of Immigrant stuff. It was just never like an institution in my house. It was never like a word anybody said. But when I became introduced to it was actually when I was in college. And my friend was like, you have to check out The Lonely Island. And I was like, I love this. I love taking a dumb idea and executing it in a really smart way, in a really like, at that time I would have phrased it like fancy way, like wow, it's like got good cameras and good lighting and all that stuff. And I had always had this thought of like I want to be a comedy writer, but I think my kind of miserable arrival to NYU, where I was in the College of Arts and Sciences and did not like it, combined with finding Lonely Island through my friend, combined with also knowing I liked comedy, I applied to the film school. I applied for a transfer like within like 3 months of being at NYU.
So Lonely Island was part of that fuel.
Totally, because the idea of like making sketches with your friends, the process of editing was so appealing to me. I like did some editing a little bit in high school on iMovie. And I didn't clock that I like liked it. I just clocked that like I would spend a long time doing it and trying to make jokes out of it. And seeing what they could do was like so cool. I don't know that I knew I was being inspired, but I totally was. And then when I went to film school, it's like all I wanted to do was comedy and film write TV. But NYU Film School is very much, at least at the time, like a film director's school. Like TV and comedy, half hours, sketches were like bottom of the barrel,
right,
kind of stuff to pursue.
Well, now, working on Digman.
Yeah.
Have you got to meet Andy? Talk with Andy?
Yeah. Super nice, and it's funny because now, after you spend a lot of years doing this stuff, you like. Not that you lose your like naive sense of wonder, but like I respect him so much as like a writer and a performer and stuff that I like, and he's a very nice guy. So I can very much intellectualize. I'm like, how nice. I like used to really love these guys and now I get to write for him.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
What a great moment.
Yeah.
But do you ever, have you ever listened to the podcast there, the Seth Meyers and Lonely Island podcast?
Not yet. Cause like now, I don't know if you found this with other comics you interview. Now it's like, I used to only watch comedy and only ingest comedy. And now that I am lucky enough to work in it,
break.
I'm like rewatching Big Little Lies all the time. Like this is the saddest stuff on earth. Just like it has nothing to do with my job, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing when you get enough of something. Every now and then you're like, I need a break. I need a break.
My break has to like be so unrelated to what my work is.
I will say though, it is for somebody like yourself that you said as far as how big of an effect Lonely Island had. It's really cool because they go back through like they've gone short by short and talked about like the funny thing is too. I can't remember if it's Kiva or Yorm, but one of them can't remember anything. Incredible. Every single time they go back, they're like, "Hey, do you remember that?" And he's like, no.
When you make as much stuff as they do, it's like, yeah. I mean, that's the dream.
What's weird though is like Andy does remember a lot of it, and I'm like, how do you remember that? It was 18 years ago.
I gotta check it out. That's interesting because I love behind the scenes stuff. So like learning how whatever jizz in my pants or something was made.
And there's a lot of things in there too, like you're saying editing wise that I'm like, wow. They actually thought to do that. There's no way I would think of something like that. Like,
especially for what they were doing, like music videos a lot of the time. Editing is so important. I think people we gotta give our flowers to music video editors. That is such a hard job. And music video directors, the amount of stuff you need to film to do a music video is crazy.
And
it's like the shot.
To
The
make
shots
it
change every 2
feel,
seconds. Yeah.
to make it have that sense that you need, but
Yeah.
then also like draw people. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. Well, I mean, since you got into sketch, have you ever thought or wanted to try out for Saturday Night Live?
Yeah. So backing up a little bit, like I got into sketch by like just filming stuff with my friends in college and like having a lot of sketches that I sat on that I couldn't film, and I could feel it in my bones. Like, I want to make these. And I always gravitated towards video. It was never like I was trying to put up a live sketch. So in that way, sometimes SNL felt like, well, only like one little section of SNL seems to be like what I'm interested in, which is just the digital shorts. Then as I pursued UCB and got more into live stuff, it was like, oh, this is more of a thing that seems cool to me. So I have applied to SNL, haven't gotten it. That's totally fine. But yeah, I mean,
How many times have you tried?
maybe 3 or something. I got an interview a couple of times, which is cool.
Nice.
But also I'm very lucky that I've kind of like, I'll do what I want regardless of what someone's gonna offer me. So I'm like, okay, like actually 2 sketches that I filmed in the last year were in my SNL packet.
Yeah.
I was just like, I would like to make these, and I don't want to wait to maybe have the 1% chance, less than 0.001% chance of getting hired at SNL to make these sketches. Also, why would they make the sketches that were in my application? So I just made like a sketch called Dad Economics and a sketch that's like about 3D sexy Kirby art. Those are both in my packet. And it's just like, I think that has helped me not be too like bummed or like think that's the one outlet I have or something. Like, I'll just make it myself. It's okay. I have an editing background too. Like,
Yeah. Well, real quick, I want to rewind back again. One thing that I heard you talk about before that I thought was, I feel like everybody in comedy has this, but you mentioned you had a friend in 5th grade that was really funny.
oh my God,
That
you did your research.
that inspired you to be like, that was the person you were like, who was that friend?
Oh my gosh. Well, on the off chance she's listening, Sarah Gilliland.
Sarah Gilliland. Shout out to Sarah.
Yes. So I had just moved to Philadelphia and I didn't know anybody at the school I was going to. And we just happened to be sitting next to each other in the lunchroom where we had to like sign up for our first like classes and stuff like that, or like just learn the lay of the middle school, the layout. And we looked at our schedules and we found out we were in a lot of the same classes. And she was super nice. And it's one of those things where like, as you start to grow up, you start to get vocabulary for a thing you like that you didn't know you liked. She was just so funny. She made me laugh so hard. And it didn't occur to me that like, that's a personality trait, being funny. And like, I felt like I could be funny around her and like nobody thought I was funny. And so it was like, wow, this is really cool. And we would like do funny like make-believe games together. And she just like, I mean, she was just so, I can't even describe it. She was just so unbelievably funny to me. And she was also like an avid reader and a writer. And it was just like things I just never had thought to do as my hobbies, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how many hobbies does a 9-year-old have? But like, especially because I was not interested in sports, it's like pretty limited. I was just like drawing a lot.
I'm into staring. And,
truly.
Twiddling my thumbs.
Yeah, truly. Sleeping. So it was just so inspirational. And she continued to just be like such a funny force in my life that I was like, I want to be funny. I want to be funny too. I want to be like her. Yeah. So I really gotta like props to having friends.
Did she actually go into comedy or was it
No.
just... No.
She was just a funny person, which is like, there's so many people like that that are like, you could probably do comedy.
It's definitely like, I gotta say though, isn't it like, it's the best when you get that friend that you think is hilarious and you get them to laugh at something you said.
Unbelievable rush. It is like you became the CEO for the day, like your principal for the hour. Just like, I made you laugh, little old me.
It's like, I mean, it's like I love making random people laugh.
Yeah.
But the people that are, you know, that you look up to comedy wise, when they laugh, you're like, did that just happen? Yeah,
totally.
Like, and it's why I'm guessing Sarah was like that for a good while.
Totally. It's such a form of validation that it comes in a different package than other types of validation. It's not like you're doing well, honey. Good job. You're so smart. It's like
you
the
earned
idea
it.
that came out of your brain affected me and made me happy. You're like,
yeah. I will say though too, it's great. I was thinking about that, and then I went to this sort of area. It's also great to have a hype person that will just laugh at anything.
Yes.
That's always, and I always think of her. If she's listening, on the off chance that she's listening, Beatrice.
Beatrice.
Yeah, B was from Kenya, and when I was in grad school, I worked with her, and she'd only been in the country for like 2 years, so she was still, you know, working on her English. She had really amazing English for being in the country for 2 years. I would have been able to say like 5 things, but like she would always, I would say a joke, and she would just start laughing, and I would be like, B, did you get that? And she'd be like, no, but I could tell you were joking. And I was just like, thanks, B. Yes. Yeah. And just based off of mannerisms, she'd just go with it. And I was just like, B, you're there. I need you everywhere I go. And be like, see, she finds it funny. And you guys don't know anything.
Yeah.
Well, now, so you eventually, like you said, you go to NYU, and you went for film school, but you started in arts and sciences.
Yeah, I started thinking maybe I'll do pre-med. And
like you said, it was a combination. Was there like a final straw moment?
My final straw moment was like the day I was born. Like, I'm not supposed to be a doctor. And like, I really loved biology. And like anything to do with the human body that I learned was so fascinating to me. I went to like a biomedical research like summer program thing when I was in high school. So I was like 15 years old, and that's the only sleepaway camp I have been to. And we just did like lecture in the morning, lab in the afternoon. And I always hated the lab, loved the lecture. So I loved learning about that stuff. And I was really good in bio class, all that. So it was like the cards were kind of saying to me like, okay, be a doctor, right? But it was just like anytime I had to come up against that in any practical way, like lab or any pre-med program or anything like that, it was just like, I don't know. We'll see. Keep your options open. But when I entered NYU, you know, I went in undecided and was like, let me take some gen eds and let me make sure I have a couple extra science classes in here so that if I decide to pursue pre-med, like there's a little bit of it taken care of. So I took like Calc 2 as an elective. I took cognitive neuroscience, whatever. Or I at least thought maybe I'll study psychology or something, like some things in the science arena. This makes it sound like it took me a year to decide. I was like 2 months in, and I was like, it's not that the classes I'm taking are bad or whatever. I just feel awful. I don't feel well. I don't like in my mind, I was like, the class sizes are so big and da-da-da. But I think what it really was is like, this is just high school again. This is just an extension of stuff I feel like I have to do. And there was just something burning. It was just like, I remember when I was in 9th grade, another friend of mine was like, you should go to NYU Film School. And I thought that was crazy because I never grew up watching movies. I only watched TV.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think that was a job.
You were like, you can't learn anything in film school about
Yeah.
TV. Get out of here.
Truly, get out. You're crazy. But once I was there, it was just like, you're in the belly of the beast. You have to make a choice. Do you keep going to these classes that make you so upset? And like child of immigrant brain says, yes, you do. But
Take your punishment.
It was almost like, I remember a friend of mine said to me, she was like, because I didn't get into the schools that I really wanted to go to. NYU was not my first choice. She's like, well, you're going to have experience with rejection and having to like make your own happiness in ways that like maybe other people who got into the first choice immediately won't have. And I really thought about that. I was like, I have to make myself happy. This is like a do or die moment. I either need to leave this school or find a way to exist in this school that makes me feel okay. So I looked up the film program. It was like, you need a comedy essay or like a dramatic essay, something. And then you need to do, you need to submit like a film submission of some sort. And I'm like, I don't own a camera and I don't have editing equipment.
Yeah.
And I had a PC, a laptop. And just the resourcefulness of 17-year-olds cannot be underestimated. I was like, I need to go to Best Buy and buy a camera. And I had no idea. I didn't know anything about cameras. And I ended up buying a camcorder that took mini DVDs.
Oh,
Now,
yes.
I think that the person who sold me that at Best Buy should be arrested. That is like so rude to sell a child a mini DVD camcorder. And I'm very lucky.
This will be good for decades.
I'm
Don't
like,
worry.
that should be illegal. I was hustled. That's crazy. But I'm very lucky to have had something to record on and to have had like, my father was very tacitly supportive of like, I guess if you want to do this, so like gave me like the $150 to buy it. Like, cannot express how grateful I am for that. Had to figure out how to use this thing. It could like only work if I like plugged it into my computer or so. It's like so crazy. So I was like, I'm gonna film a documentary about schizophrenia because I love science and psychology and like I don't know what else to do. And I didn't even like second guess it really. I was just like, okay, how do I do this? Okay, my neighbor growing up, his mom was a psychiatrist. I'm gonna knock on her door the next time I go home and ask if I can interview her. So I did that. And then my friend was in a class with the guy who did some consulting on Shutter Island, a movie that had just come out, and was consulting on like psychiatric things. I was like, can I interview your professor? I like emailed him and I showed up at his house at like 7 a.m. and interviewed him. And I did all these things. And then my same friend who showed me The Lonely Island, she had a Mac laptop.
Fancy.
She's like, I have iMovie. And so kindly, she would like let me reserve her laptop.
It's like the library. I got this for 2 hours tonight.
Yes.
Thank you.
She'd be like, I'm going to bed. I'd like go to her dorm and pick it up and just like edit all night and give it back to her. And I did that for months, just editing this documentary on schizophrenia and then editing this comedy essay I was writing.
And that was to get into the school.
Film school. And so then somehow I freaking got in. I was like through the roof happy. I like ran down Fifth Avenue, like so excited to get to the bursar's office to like sign it officially and whatever. And I was like, oh my God, I like changed something in my life.
Yeah.
Like something was going wrong. And I was like, diagnose it now. And like, you have to just like, if everything is miserable, doing anything else will be better. And I like changed something. And it was such a powerful feeling, especially as a 17-year-old, to be able to do that.
Well, I mean, honestly, most people never do that. So,
yeah,
you know.
I mean, yeah. So that's like a moment I continue to be proud of. I'm like, I don't know how, again, 17-year-olds cannot be underestimated. Just like the will to survive and like figure something out when you're miserable.
Well, was that like the first, like the comedy essay? Was that the first thing you'd ever like comedy written?
I had tried writing like a quote unquote feature with friends in 8th grade. And it was a funny thing, like, maybe I should have known I wanted to be a writer. We like had a funny idea. I was like, let's write it down for like a mystery comedy movie. And we started handwriting it on like a free notepad I got from something. And when they left my house, I just wrote 27 pages of it on my own when they left. And
I'll
I
just write a little bit here. There we go.
and I messaged them. I'm like, guys, I wrote 27 more pages. Like, okay.
They're like, what is wrong with her?
And we tried to film it and it didn't work out. So I tried writing something like that. I tried like filming my friends and I doing like whose line is it anyway sketches and like whatever. So this was the first like essay I wrote. And to be honest, the first draft I wrote, I had a friend who was a really good writer. So she's still my friend. She like went to the Pennsylvania Governor's School for Writing, which is like a super selective program. They accept like 5 people in the state. I sent the essay to her. She will probably not remember being this brutal, but she was, and I appreciate it. She goes, this makes it kind of look like you don't know how to write. And I was like, and she was like, I think you need to change the formatting and just try something else. And so like game time decision with like a few weeks left, I changed the whole essay. And
Did she look at it again?
I think she looked at it again and was like, okay, this is better.
Yeah.
So it's like, show your friends stuff, even if you're embarrassed. I would have turned in something that now I look back and I took, because she was always light years ahead of me in writing. I'm like, yeah, in my 30s, I could see that was bad writing. I didn't know when I was 17.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, good to have an editor. It is very good to have an editor.
Yes.
Well, now, once you got accepted to film school, was it one of those things that it was immediately like, oh, okay, this is what I've been waiting for?
With the exception of 90% of the people in that program, yes.
The exception of everyone else. Yes.
Trying not to sound like a huge dork, but when I could talk to a teacher or just listen to a lecture or learn how to use equipment or learn how to edit, I was like, I am thriving. I am in flow state. But if I had to talk to particularly the boys in that program, it was like, I think weirdly, I have those boys to thank because I went into writing and because I knew how I wanted to do it, but I also went into editing because I did not have to talk to those people because I was just alone in a room and you only had to interact with them if you needed help on the machine. And then I became a TA. So I was the person that was helping. So I'm like, I really don't need to interact with you. They were just like such bummers and they were so unrelatable to me. Like,
are we talking like artsy film guys?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It was so out of my realm of experience and just like the amount of judgment I got for not watching movies was like, I didn't expect it, where it was just like, you haven't seen Psycho? And I was like, no. And in my mind, I'm like, who would have shown me Psycho? Or like, what are you talking about? I'm first of all scared of everything. And like, I would have had to see it with my friends. My friends were movie people, but it just didn't interest me as much. And I was like, have you seen Sanford and Son? Like, what? Why is your thing so much more interesting than my thing? I don't understand.
I'm quizzing you on all sitcoms right now.
Yeah, I truly was just like, what? Why is your thing treated with so much respect? And like, I literally took a class once. It was like writing children's TV sketches for like a Nickelodeon, like an all that kind of show. And it was like in the fall you wrote the sketches and in the spring you were supposed to produce them. Only 2 people signed up for the spring components, so the class got canceled. So like that's the stuff I was dealing with like doing TV and comedy, where there were only 2 comedy classes.
Yeah.
It was sort of like second string or whatever. Film was where it was at. And it was like, these people, very rarely did you find a person in that program, if you're me, that you like wanted to talk to. And I had like dork work ethic, and it was the first time I had encountered people that just like simply don't do deadlines and like don't do homework. There was a class where I was the only person who showed up, and it was for a Final Cut lecture, and I had already been teaching myself Final Cut, and I was like, I already know it. And he's like, well, I'll just sit here in case you have questions. I'm like, this is crazy. There are 30 people in this class. So like, there was that energy, not with everyone, but just in certain areas of that school that was like, I was so aware. I'm like, this is a luxury career. I am so honored to be here. I am so honored to have some financial aid. I am so honored to have my parents paying for my education. I am not going to waste 1 minute of this.
When I was in undergrad, I went to the University of Miami, and I was in biology. I stayed in your field, and my friend though, my roommate, he was in film school there.
Yeah.
And I definitely met a lot of those because he was in your vein. He wanted to do comedy, and he'd come in and he'd be like, dude, I have this hilarious idea. You're going to be the dream guy in this classroom, and no one's going to actually want to go out with you. No one's interested in you. And like, he'd come up with these hilarious sketches, and like, but then he'd present it to everybody else, like in the film school. They'd be like, I don't know what that is. That sounds like, just like they'd be disgusted by it,
Yeah, it's like picture being in a program with a lot of people who believe it is a virtue to have no sense of humor, that believe that makes you like an intellectual or something. Again, there were exceptions, but it was just like so strange. And also there was like a type of lived experience they had that I didn't relate to, where like, I remember once on the very first like crew outing I was on for my friend's documentary. Actually, it was Nia DaCosta, if you know her, director of Candyman. She was in my very first like film class, a documentary class. We were going out to Roosevelt Island to film her project. And a person in our group, because Nia was always very cool, person in our group was like on the train. He was like, okay, so what drugs has everybody done? I was like, are we 3? This is so boring. And I had not done and did not drink until like really I graduated college. And I'd been on like 5 dates in my life. I'm like, are there any other South Asians in this program? Like, I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. This guy had like access to 16 millimeter in high school, is talking about doing Molly, getting a party busted by the cops. I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about. My friends and I hung out at Wawa or Walmart at like or Starbucks.
I'm proficient in loitering.
Yeah,
and
truly.
I enjoy Slurpees.
Yes.
So
It's just like so crazy. And again, this like false air of like importance behind having a spooky, like seedy high school experience. I just simply could not relate to. My mom would like be like, why are you wearing a tank top? I'm like, wow. And these people are like doing drugs. I'm like, I don't know.
It's all relative. Come on. Well, now, like, I mean, when you look at like what you learned, I'm guessing there was a ton of editing stuff, like you said, that like super helpful. But like, obviously, you were going into an entertainment world at that point in time that has, completely changed. There was no streaming at that point in time. YouTube had just come out. Like it was new. So you were, in a sense, you were sort of taught in like the old school way.
Yes.
Like, has a lot of that stuff gone by the wayside now as far as like what you can use?
Kind of. Like the 2 comedy classes I had, one of them was focused on writing a half hour, and it was all spec scripts. Pilots were not a thing at all.
Yeah.
Which seems wild now. I wish we could go back to the spec script days, because I think it's unreasonable to ask people to create an entire universe by themselves when every successful TV show you've seen has taken a team of people to do it. But they always want original content, original material. Your sample also needs to be possible development material. That has definitely changed. Like, I had no concept of a pilot at that time. I think also we were not super, at least in the classes I took, informed on freelance life. And not that anyone pitched this as a full-time job or anything, but like the idea that you really have to keep putting yourself out there, like get a website, like make sure your stuff is easy to find, make sure you have a reel, and make sure, like, all these things I don't remember being specifically taught, but just kind of had to learn. And I think I was lucky that being in post-production was an in-demand skill that I could freelance when I graduated. And then I did actually secure full-time work working for true crime television, and kind of learned that stuff on the fly, that like, okay, if I quit this full-time job, I have to figure out how to freelance. And I did. And it's just like, like how to start your own production like all these things. Like, some people were doing it, but it just wasn't like a main focus all the time. It kind of was like, here's how to find your voice, which is still really important. And like, make your bad crap now, like make a short film now, get your chops, and cut your teeth on this so that later you've made your thing that you're like, that was my rough draft, whatever. And learn how to complete stuff. That I think was important because some people really didn't.
I think like sometimes when you look at schools like that, like probably the emphasis on those things aren't as important to them because so many people in that, like you were talking about the guy with his Molly and his access to 16 millimeter, like it doesn't matter if he gets a job or not because he's not really. It doesn't matter. He's going to go back and be like, hey, I'm living with my parents and it's pretty awesome.
Totally.
Like, and so like, I think because of some of the characters you get in film school, you probably don't see as much of a push with the faculty. Like, we got to tell them they got to try to get a job.
And,
like,
it's an instance where the faculty are in the industry or not able to get jobs themselves sometimes too. Like I had a few teachers that were like actively working while they were teaching and no shade to the ones that weren't, but some of them were like, I used to be a screenwriter and now I teach. And like, it's hard out there. So they don't necessarily know the secret sauce. Getting that work too. And then it becomes a bit of a self-selecting crowd that's like, I need to make my own work. I need to make my own way. And like, you find these people that like Nia and people that just like keep freaking grinding to like make their own opportunities. And no one tells you to do that,
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you've done all kind like that. I mean, that's the thing is grinding, hustling through. You've done all kinds of different comedy ventures. And I've seen every now and then you've gone into stand-up, but not like, and I heard you say you actually do it a lot now, or not a lot, but you do it as character development.
I'm like, so it's so funny you mentioned stand-up because I'm literally taking a stand-up class now because I love class. I love school. I've always been a little bit of a nerd. And I am a big believer in like, I don't want to be afraid of any part of my industry. Like even in film school, sound scared the crap out of me. So I made myself take a sound class because I'm like, don't get freaked out by a whole department. Like and at the very least, know what they do. So that you will be informed when you make your own thing and maybe you're a writer and hey, we're filming next to an ocean. Maybe we need to like compensate for that. It
might be a problem.
ADR, in the budget or whatever. And so I'm a big believer in that. And so some of my blind spots in comedy, because I've been lucky enough to work on sketch and half hour and animated shows, include characters and stand-up. So I'm really trying to improve those. So I've done a couple more live shows lately or characters lately. And the stand-up class was like, I would like formal instructions on what works and what doesn't work because I'm not cutting my teeth at open mics all the time. And I kind of want to just have a guaranteed group of collaborators, like the people in my class, to start cutting my teeth a little bit in a safer way for a mid-30s person that isn't like go out to an open mic at 11 p.m. And because it's not going to be my main bread and butter too. I'm like, I just want this to supplement what I've already got. You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a lot going out to those open mics. That's for sure.
Completely. Like even just the very little I did in New York, it turned me off. Not only just again, because the environment might not always be great, but I just felt it. It was like, something is not making me come home and listen to the thing I just did and edit it. Something is gravitating me towards, I would rather write a sketch or I would rather start a new script. And so I was like, I guess I just have to listen to that,
Do you have any like stand-ups that you're really big in, like as far as their comedy right now?
Ooh, okay. When I was a little more proficient in paying attention to stand-up, Tig Notaro was just like, come on. I was like obsessed. I loved John Mulaney for a while. Obviously growing up, Jerry Seinfeld and Bill Cosby had like one of his albums, like, I'm trying to think. I went to Edinburgh Fringe again to kind of like expand my horizons because I was like, I'm kind of afraid to do a live show. Don't be afraid. Go watch the best live shows that ever get produced. And I saw Hannah Gadsby, and that was incredible. I saw, gosh, who have I seen recently? Oh, Chris Grace did a stand-up show at Edinburgh that was unbelievable. It was called Sardines. I wonder if he's going to do it out here. And then he also has a special on Dropout called Chris Grace as Scarlett Johansson. That's really good. He's awesome. I hope he truly blows up in the next 2 seconds.
Well, I mean, like outside of stand up, because like that's the thing is you've been working in the industry now for a good deal. Like we talked about, you work with Andy and all these these big names. Like, is there anybody that you, when you worked with them, sort of face to face, that you were just like, wow, their comedy game is at another like level. Wow.
Yeah, there's a couple people that come to mind. So Tim Robinson does a voice on Digman. And I've been a fan since I Think You Should Leave came out.
Yeah.
And I love him and Sam, and like I think they're both so funny. And having him do voices in the show, I'm like, he just makes all of these lines 80 times funnier. I am so in awe of his career. And then my old boss at Grand Crew, Phil Jackson, not the coach. He is someone who is so funny. When I watch him improvise, I'm like, okay, we did it. We found good improv here. But he was also just such an incredible boss that I've never been like, I admire my boss for being a good boss. It's like, but he was just such a good manager and created such a fun, funny environment that was inspiring. Because I've always been intimidated by the idea of being a showrunner, and he made it seem like it's an attitude. It's a study in like patience and kind of decision making and constantly checking in with yourself. He's just awesome. So those are the two people that come to mind. Nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you got a lot of things going on. You got Smartypants going on, Digman, Game Changer. You got the improv going on. What would you say, like, the most fun project that you've had in the last, like, couple of years? Like, the one that was just, like, it almost didn't seem... I mean, I'm guessing a lot of those don't seem like work at a lot of times. But which was the one that just, like, man, I want to go on that ride again?
Okay, I have two answers.
Okay.
One, doing that, I don't know if you've seen my like stupid Kirby sketch that I mentioned, which is, yes, that was so fun because it was so crazy the amount of work I had to do. I had to commission a 3D artist to make all those disgusting images of Kirby. And that involved a lot of really bizarre creative thought where like I'm going back and forth with them and I'm like, so the idea of this one is it's like Kirby and it has a huge boobs and it's like walking and then they come back and I'm like, awesome. So could the nipples be more pronounced and can we get them eyelashes? And then it's like, I love the high heels, but can we make the bikini more like a thong? I'm like, this is the craziest set of emails I've ever sent in my life. And each time I had to send them, it was like, funny to me because it was just like, yeah, this is the reason I'm making it, is because I think it is funny that all these artists on DeviantArt are technically very skilled but choose to make the craziest, like, here's Sonic the Hedgehog as a toilet. I'm like, proficient work, insane topic.
Yeah.
So that was, and it took so long to get that 3D work done that it really had to be like Mike Trapp, my old boss, who I also really admire. It's like, this is a true labor of love. Like, this is like a passion project because you've been working on this for so long. And cutting it, I was like making myself laugh because it was just like doing a crash zoom from my friend Raph Chestang to the Kirby on the screen as if they're like interacting was so fun. That like made me want to keep making sketches on my own and not wait for somebody.
Yeah.
And then I wrote a feature recently that I'm gonna make next year. And that has been kind of like a reintroduction to my film school life of like, okay, how do I make this feature low budget? Let's go. Pretend you're 17. How do you make this for $10? You know, and who are my friends that I can cast in this that like won't want a big paycheck or any paycheck? You know?
We're looking for zero.
We're looking for zero. That's the ideal salary right now. And it's like really activating that like indie filmmaker mindset that kind of The Lonely Island brought out in me, you know, where it's just like friends hanging out and filming stuff.
Yeah. They definitely have that vibe too, I gotta say. They still do. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like when I hear them, I'm like, man, it's been like 30 years for you guys, and it sounds like you still like. I mean, they just had that digital short on SNL the other week. Yeah, like it's crazy. It's crazy. But now, Vulture listed you as one of the 2024 comedians you should and will know. Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah, and it's got to be exciting. Yeah. But I was thinking a little bit. I was thinking about if I were like in your shoes, and I feel like I'd have to be a little bit like, I've been doing this for 10 years, guys. Where have you been?
Oh,
you've missed out. Like, I feel a little bit like I'd be excited about it, but at the same time, I'd be like, it would have been nice to be a little bit sooner than this.
That's
like,
so funny. It's funny because lists always make me anxious. But a thing I know about them is lists are made in part to help amplify people, but they're also made because someone needs to write an article. Yeah. And and like I'm so honored to be on that list. Yeah. But having had to see this stuff from like, you know, your early 20s onward, because it's like, oh, old stand-ups coming up in the 70s didn't have to deal with like everyone and their mother writing an article called like the best 50 comedians in Brooklyn right now, like every single day coming out on the internet and being blasted at you. And I like kind of numbed myself a tiny bit, and seeing things happen to other people, like JFL would have new faces. And I'm like, new faces? This person has been one of the funniest people in New York for years and is also an SNL writer. Like they're not new faces. Or whatever. You just see it happen to so many people that you're like, lists come and go. And just take what you can from them. If you get it, that's incredible and it's a beautiful honor. And if you don't, it is okay. Like, are you familiar with Zach Broussard? Yeah. He would do this really funny bit every year that was like the 1,000 best comedians of the year to make fun of these lists and how like it shouldn't bother you if you don't get on one because it's like it's okay. And he would just choose 1,000 people and he would roll the whole thing in the craziest way. It would be like a billboard and everybody's name is in size 12 font, but it's a billboard. So you have to like climb up to the billboard to read if you're like on the list, you know? Or he reveals it in a very slow live stream. It's like, so you're gonna watch a man slowly read names for hours to see if you're on it? Like, how far will you go to see that you're on a list I'm overtly telling you is stupid?
I'm betting you there were some. I'm betting you there were some.
And it's like really funny. Or it would be like, he had one year that was like the 1,000 best comedians that haven't been canceled, but it had a function that was like, you can if you find out one of these people is canceled, you'll cancel them and they can be off the list. And within like an hour, every single person was canceled. Yeah.
Well, right now, you're obviously proud of everything you've put out there. But if I were to ask you, give us one thing, give our listeners one thing that you could tell them, this is me. Go watch this. Go listen to this. You know, what would you want them to view if you had one thing?
Such a good question. It's so demented. I think it's the Kirby sketch. I think that's why it felt so satisfying. I'm like, yeah, this is me. It's my editing. It's my voice. I directed it. I loved doing it. It was so fun. I got to do a character. I used to at CollegeHumor write myself as like voice of reason a lot. I don't know. I think I did it because I didn't think I could be a character. So I slowly started to shift, and then we all got laid off. But yeah, I think curvy is me. And then, yeah. And then maybe this feature I'm writing.
Okay.
But that's not been produced yet. So maybe in a year, I'll tell you that.
I was about to say now, when do you have any sort of schedule structure going on for it?
Not an official one. We're just saying kind of next year. Like my friend is
Okay.
directing it and the goal is filming it next year.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I'm
see.
excited. I'm excited.
Yes.
Well, Rekha, we are up against the break, but I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Ben. This was so fun.
Yeah, listeners, you need to check it out. You need to check out the Kirby special. You need to check it out. You need to check out Smartypants. You need to check out Digman. You need to check out all of Rekha's stuff. Right now, we're going to take a break. We will be right back here on the Doc G Show.
The Doc G Show. Because sometimes you need something playing in the background. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on 99.5 FM, Spinnaker.
This is 95.5 Spinnaker Radio. WSKR-LP-FM, UNF Jacksonville.
And we are back here on the Doc G Show, Spinnaker Radio, WSKRLP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. You just heard Rekha Shankar. My goodness, Mike. My goodness. Career in comedy. And not the normal, you know. I'm used to your crew. I'm used to stand-ups. And that's a wild way of getting into it, going in from film and then going into improv. Improv seems so frightening to me, Mike. I don't know about
so
you.
much fun.
Have
So
you,
much fun.
You've done it.
I took a improv level 1 class. Yeah,
Yeah?
that was so much fun.
But you didn't think about, like, keep on doing it, you know?
it was more of just a class, one-off little thing. Yeah, it would be fun, but you know that's not my realm. So just wanted to get the experience.
Oh,
but yeah,
man, that
improv, so much fun. I recommend that to anybody. By the way, Doc G, anybody out there who wants to just get out of your shell just a little bit, just take an improv class. It's easy. It's fun.
I'll say class, yes.
Yeah.
Class, because you don't feel stupid. You're with a bunch of other people. I mean, you can still feel stupid, but like
For
you don't
sure.
like in front of people, when you think of a theater, like doing like that in front of like 300 people, or then like you think about like Whose Line Is It Anyway, where they're just improving in front of, you know, a million people. God, I would take a crap in my pants in the first 5 seconds. I'd be like, I'm going to say something so stupid. I'm going to say something that is going to get me canceled in the first 2 seconds. And I'll be like, I didn't mean it that way. I'm sorry.
But you'll still get a laugh though, because that's what's fun. Is even if you're wrong, it's funny. Like that's why improv is so.
You'll get a laugh, and then later you'll be hauled off to jail. Like,
exactly.
I don't know, man. That's too much. I like to have some things. I like a little improv, Mike. Just a little bit. Like, you know, that's the thing. Is like with I think that's what always makes the best stand-ups. You know, is you've got your set. But then they're just flexible at their set. And if they see something that the crowd laughs at, they poke at it. They tease it a little bit. They do a little bit extra on it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's the good improv to me. They've got something funny, and then you add a little bit extra. When it's just all improv, whoo! That is too much by the seat of your pants. I can't handle it. That's too much. It scares me. Makes my wiener shrink up into my body. I can't take it. Can't take it. What? But, regardless, Rekha does a good job at it, and getting to work with Andy Samberg now. That's awesome.
Yeah, really
like,
cool.
That's pretty wild.
Legend.
Like, just seeing Andy come in, I would you know, I'd be like, well, I'm not funny. This isn't gonna work. Like, this is just bad, man. That's too much pressure. But anyways, thanks for Rekha for coming on the show. Mike, we need to move on to the fastest growing segment in the world.
Mike C, Top 3.
Mike, this just came to me while we were just talking about this. I forgot to mention. I did switch the title to comedy. It is now comedy. Woohoo! On the show is now listed as comedy. Yes.
Okay.
So don't worry, listeners. I was successful. It is now comedy throughout on all platforms. That is what it is known as.
What was it before?
Entertainment. Well, so it was entertainment for one, and then society and culture for the other.
Okay.
And I thought entertainment was a pretty good. Like, I was like, yeah, that's what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
But like society and culture, no, that didn't properly show things. By the way, Mike, real good hit on YouTube for the old Steven Adams clip. Steven Adams clip, hundreds of likes. Very nice.
That's right.
Very nice. Yeah.
Thank you, YouTube.
Yeah, I appreciate that one. Evidently, me having AOL funking your mom struck a chord with people, and they were like, yes, yes. Anyways, I got derailed. The top three. Mike C top three. Mike said best fair foods. And really, then he sort of widened it out and just said anything that's pretty much unhealthy was his anything that was unhealthy from a cart or from a truck or anything along that line. But Mike, because I don't frequent these foods, I looked up most of these foods.
Yeah, I had to look up a couple.
You know, do you have some honorable mentions?
I do. I have a couple.
Okay. So I have a couple too. We'll alternate. My first on it. So I found a lot of where they went, I guess because I was probably putting in fair foods, they actually went state to state. I found a lot of websites that were doing the top 50 for every state. What was their best food?
Okay.
You know?
Ah, dang.
And I found one very good, Louisiana, Bayou Balls.
Bayou balls. Ah.
Yeah. Bayou balls with either gator meat or crawfish. They put a bunch of seasoning in there. They have the Holy Trinity, you know, peppers, onions, and celery, and then they fry the shit out of it. And
that sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah. They look good. They look really good. I was like, I would like to get my hand on some of those balls. Huh? I don't know about you guys, but yowzas. So that's my first top or honorable mention. What's your first honorable?
I also have balls.
Nice.
Sweet. Risotto balls. Risotto balls.
Do you have a location of those?
Location? I mean, not really. It's just like usually at a San Gennaro, you know, if you go to that kind of festival, which I think they have in a lot of states.
Sure.
San Gennaro risotto balls. Yeah. Really good.
I like it. I like it. My next one from Tennessee, Mike. Tennessee, deep fried goo clusters.
What? What is that?
It's basically it's like it's a chocolate party cluster. It's got peanuts, and then it's got like I think there's some caramel in there or something along that line. And then they just they freeze it. They put chocolate on it, they freeze it, they then bread it and then deep fry it. And it is actually the state, I can't remember if it's the state fair food of Tennessee or if it's the state dessert of Tennessee. It's one of the two. I think it's the state fair food, but they are the most popular thing to get at a fair in Tennessee, and I concur. Without tasting them, I know I would love them. So, okay, Mike, what's your next honorable?
Churros. Just churros. Anywhere, anytime.
Classic.
Churros.
They're good. They are good.
Massive churros.
This is, again, another state one. This is Kansas. Kansas has Pronto Pups.
Pronto Pups.
Pronto Pups, they're not corn dogs, but they look exactly like corn dogs. And apparently they use wheat, rice, and barley instead of corn flour to make the dog. So it is a Pronto Pup. And I got to be honest, I'm interested in what that tastes like.
Yeah, that does sound unique.
Because, I mean, I'm used to a corn dog. So you got that little corn flavor in the mill. This doesn't have any of that corn flavor. So what's it taste like? That's interesting. I want to get in there. All right, Mike, what's your next honorable mention?
I don't have any more.
You don't have any more? Okay.
Yeah,
I got a couple more. Next on my list would be the New York. This is from New York. The Harvester deep fried sandwich. Oh my God. I'm not usually like a Thanksgiving kind of guy, but this is sort of like a Thanksgiving sandwich with just like deep fried turkey on there, and then there's mashed potatoes, and they like fry the whole effing thing, man.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Oh, it looks like a disaster, and it would taste amazing.
Yeah.
Like it is crazy. It is crazy. Next on my list would be from Maine, blueberry crepes. Blueberry crepes. They just look so good. Just these mini pancakes with the blueberries and the whipped cream on them. I was like, that's simple and sexy right there. Mm-hmm. That's like a classy lady in a black dress. I want to be associated. You know.
Yeah.
Like, anyways. And then let's see. Last one on my honorable mentions would be Oklahoma with their honey pepper bacon dog.
Say what?
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
I don't even need to explain that. Just in the name.
Yeah.
That is no Play-Below slopper right there, Mike.
No.
That is hot and sexy right in the name.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mike, top 3. Here we go. My number 3, pretty standard, I think. Illinois corn dogs. Corn dogs from the Dog Drive-In. Apparently, that's the classic place you get them from. That's like the standard. And apparently, they have like dibs on the first ever corn dog. That was like the first real deal corn dog was from Dog Drive-In. So there you go.
And where was that at again?
Illinois.
Illinois.
Mm-hmm. Illinois. I think it was like, don't quote me on this, but I think it was like 1940 something that they said was the first corn dog. That's when they put it out. Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
All right, your number 3.
I should have put corn dogs on the honorable mentions because they are fantastic.
Amen.
My number 3, also pretty broad. No place in particular. Funnel cake. Yeah, fantastic.
Hey, it's good. It is good.
Funnel cake, all that powdered sugar on top of that. Just it's all over the place.
This was close to an honorable mention because I would love to try this, Mike. But this is a staple for North Carolina. They have funnel cake, but it's specifically Cheerwine funnel cake. Have you ever had Cheerwine?
No, I don't think so. I don't know what that is.
Cheerwine is a local beverage. It's a local soft drink, basically only drank in North Carolina. If you say it outside of North Carolina, they're like, what the talking about? But it's a cherry cola, Mike, and they have this cherry cola flavored funnel cake with a buttercream sauce or like icing all over it that has the cherry cola in it too. It's like a pink icing all over the funnel cake, and I was like,
man,
yeah, I'd get into that.
That sounds great.
That. Mike, my number 2, this is another specific one. The Utah, this is from Utah's fair, the French fry stuffed burger.
Say what?
I mean, pretty simple. It's burger stuffed with French fries, fried.
Yeah.
It's basically as fat as you can get, and everything that you would think in America
I love
fried together.
I
And
love it.
It looks phenomenal, man.
Get out there and vote, people.
Yeah, exactly. Yay, America. Mike, your number 2.
My number 2, very broad, not state specific, although probably a hit in Wisconsin, cheese curds.
I saw that on a couple of lists for Wisconsin. Yes, I did. That is. I mean, that's their go-to. That is their go-to.
With the gravy? Oh, like the poutine. I don't know. That's the poutine.
Yeah, you get the poutine fries, man. You just put the fries down.
Oh,
you
yeah,
put those cheese curds on the top. You put the gravy on it. Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, that's a mean meal. That's a meal that will put you down for a nap in about 5 seconds.
So true.
Mike, my number 1, I went generic on this one. And I want to sadly say I have had 0 of these things. I have had none of these things on the list. I would like to try every single one of these things. If I tried every single one of these things on the list, I would definitely die that day. But still, this one has been out there for years, Mike, and I've never had it, and I need to have it. Fried Oreos.
Yes.
Is that your number one, Mike?
You know, it doesn't happen very often, but occasionally we get a number one together, and that's my number one as well. Friday.
There it is.
Absolutely.
There it is, man. Have you had one?
Oh yeah, I've had them. I've had them in a couple different spots. Yeah, definitely.
And they're delicious,
oh,
right?
Yeah, they're great. They're great. Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Fried things are awesome.
Yeah.
Oreos are awesome.
Yes.
You put them together, they're going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah, they put a little powdered sugar. You know, they do them up in different ways. Sometimes they do like a chocolate sauce on top of it. Yeah. Ew.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah, they're great.
Oh my gosh, I could OD on those things so hard.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It is a good thing I have not tried one of those. That's like doing heroin right there. I would do one of those and never turn back. I would be 4,000 fried Oreos deep, and you'd be like, Ben, you can't fit through the door anymore, man. And I'd be like, give me another. Just give me one more. It'd be bad. It would be bad. Mike, that is the top 3 for this week.
So true.
What do we have for next week? What are you thinking?
Let's do top 3 classes in school in general. Just top 3.
So we're thinking like high school classes.
Yeah, and it could have been, you know what I was thinking, this could have been, it could have just been a grade. Like you had a teacher. I don't want to say top 3 teachers. I almost want to say, should I say, I don't know. Yeah, top 3 classes.
Do we want to call out? Yeah, let's do. You could do it a lot of different ways. Let's do, because I think that's another one that we could split. Because you could do top favorite classes as far as grades in elementary school. What was your favorite grades in elementary school? Then we could do just favorite subject or classes in high school.
Okay, so let's do top 3 elementary grades.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, top 3.
I like that.
So we've essentially got we're choosing 3 out of the 6. 3 out of the 6. We're counting kindergarten, by the way. Kindergarten's included. So we're just. Do you want to?
You're including 6th grade?
No,
I mean, that definitely wouldn't be a top 3 for me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and kindergarten.
Okay, cool.
6.
That makes sense. I forgot there was. Yeah, sorry.
Do you want to include middle school though? Do you want to put those in there just in case?
I mean, we can do. All right.
Okay,
elementary
let's go.
And middle school.
We'll go all the way up to 8th grade. So kindergarten to 8th grade, favorite year of school. What do you got? What do you got? Top
cool.
3.
Love it.
I just want to include more years so that we're not like basically choosing the exact same. If you've only got 6, you got a 50% chance. So let's add 3 more in there. Anyways, okay. All right. Mike, we've got 2 birthday suits left. Do you want the athlete or the entertainer first?
Let's go athlete.
Okay. Born on October 20th, 1940 in Brazil. His full name was Edson Arantes do Nascimento. But he was always known by his nickname. Started playing soccer at a young age. When he was 16, he started playing for the Brazilian national team. During his playing career, he competed in 4 World Cups, and Brazil won 3 of them. 1958, 1962, 1966, and 1970. Which made him the most decorated player of all time. In 92 World Cup games, he scored 77 goals. He played 19 seasons professionally with Santos and then signed with the New York Cosmos. He is often considered one of the best, if not the best, soccer player of all time. Name that birthday suit wearer.
I'm kind of guessing here. Is it Pele? Pele?
Pele is correct,
Yeah.
Mike. Nicely done. Yeah.
Cool.
sadly died 2 years ago, Mike. Yeah, Mike. He passed away.
That.
Yep. Passed away 2 years ago. But like I said, with Messi, it's now getting a little tough saying Pele was the best ever, because Messi is just he's dominated. He's just been an insane player. But Pele was it, man. Still is it to a degree. I mean, 3 World Cups never happened before. Never happened with one player. Just insane. Just dominated the sport. He was the Minister of Sports for Brazil, the first Minister of Sports. And just world famous, too. Anybody see him around the world, they'd just be like, oh, my God, it's Pele. Like, he's just one of those guys, you know? Mm-hmm. One of those guys like Jordan that you can just say Pele. And it's like, yeah. Know who that is? Like, you know. Mike, let's go on to our last birthday suit. Born on October 23rd, 1925 in Corning, Iowa. He started performing magic at a young age. He went by the stage name The Great Carsoni. He ended up going to the Navy and then went to the University of Nebraska, where he majored in journalism. His college thesis was, quote, how to write comedy for radio. Can somebody grab us a copy? We may need that. We can learn a thing or two, Mike.
That's a fact.
We can get something out of this.
Yeah.
He started working on radio in 1950 at WOW AM in Nebraska. He was invited to perform on the Los Angeles channel KNXT in 1951. He then hosted ABC's show Who Do You Trust from 57 to 62. In 1962, he became the host of The Tonight Show. He was the host for 30 years, from 1962 to 1992. Almost all talk show hosts, David Letterman, Conan O'Brien, Jay Leno, Bill Maher, Joan Rivers, Jimmy Fallon, have said they were all inspired by this man. Many comedians like Ray Romano, Bob Newhart, Carl Reiner, Jerry Seinfeld, Steve Martin, Norm Macdonald said they were inspired by him. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson is correct. Yes. Woo! Mike, did you notice that? 3 for 3.
Let's go.
Nicely done. Nicely done. The big Johnny Carson, man. You know what? He is the standard. Still is the standard, you know?
Yeah.
Still is the standard for a late night. Nobody got to it. I mean, you know, in my day, David Letterman is the peak for me. But like I respect the history, you know? Mm-hmm. And if David Letterman says that Johnny Carson is it, then I'm going to say Johnny Carson is it, you know? Mm-hmm. But regardless, he sadly passed away in 2004. Cigarettes, Mike. Cigarettes. 2005. Sorry, 2005. But cigarettes. Just at one point in time, I was reading the little bio on it. 1 point in time, 4 packs a day.
Hell yeah.
4 packs a day. And he said for a bunch of years, he would tell people as he's like coughing, he's like, these things are effing killing me. Yeah. Probably not the best thing. Not the best thing. Pall Malls. That's what he was smoking. The Pall Malls. Not the brand you usually think of. Anyways, happy birthday to Johnny Carson. Happy birthday to Pele. And happy birthday to Ryan Reynolds. Mike, we have got some amazing shows on the come up, is what I say, because I couldn't think of anything else to say. But we've got some great shows coming up. I can't wait for them. But we need to wrap it up for this week. I have been your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Verticus Charette.
Always a pleasure, Doc G. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.
Zippity-doo-dah.